Now, depending on how much time is left in class, we do need to make some more coils. So while we're making more coils to add to the bottom, I would go ahead and place it in my bag. I wouldn't be too worried about zipping it shut, but just leaving it in the bag is a nice idea. It'll make sure that this clay is not drying out while it's waiting for your coils. So the bottom is done. We need to go ahead and start making coils for the top of the cup. Like I said before, the nice part about this project is everything that you just did to the bottom, we are going to be doing to the top. We're going to be making coils, we're going to be scoring, we're going to be slipping, and we're going to be sticking. You don't need to wedge this clay because it's already been wedged. However, if you do need more clay from me, anytime you get fresh clay, before you use it, it is a really great idea to go ahead and wedge before using. So again, start off with a small amount. You can always get more. We're going to go ahead and start our cylinder shape, and you're just going to start making a new coil like you did during the practice and like you did for the bottom. So from here, I'll grab my sharp tool. I will begin adding scoring. And again, I use little X's. So if you want to try that, that might work well for you. Again, there's no wrong way to do it as long as you're creating a bumpy texture on the clay to allow your clay to grab on to other pieces of clay. So once you have your coil and you've scored it, you can go ahead and grab out your bottom, making sure that your name is facing down. Now we're going to take this coil and we're going to attach it to the bottom of our cup. So anytime we attach clay to clay, we want to make sure not only does the clay that we are going to be attaching it to have texture from scoring, we want to make sure that the surface that we're attaching it to has texture. So with the pointy stick, we can go ahead and we can create texture just around the edge. We're not going to be attaching anything to the center of the cup, so we just want to go around the edge, roughening up our clay. And we'll be going all the way around, so it's okay to go ahead and score everything. We want to apply slip to both surfaces, and again, make sure that you are not pushing hard enough where you're getting rid of your texture. You just want to feel that slipperiness from extra wet clay. And again, this is where some of you might decide that working with a long piece is a little bit harder, so you might end up doing smaller pieces. Again, we don't want to see the scoring, so we want to make sure that our scoring is going on top of our other scoring and we're pushing down firmly, not hard. We don't want to lose our cylinder. But if you don't apply any pressure, it might not work out the best. So you're just going to continue to line up the coil with the cup, push firmly, check the sides to make sure that you're going straight up and down, otherwise your cup is slowly going to become a bowl, which we are not trying to do for this project. Once you get to where you started, you have two options. You can go ahead and just cut it with your wooden tool and just stop right there and then put another one on top and then just do it single. Or if you want, and this works out easier for me, is you can grab your popsicle stick and you can make a little ramp for your coil to go up nice and smooth. I like this one better because it's less pieces, and I feel like the cup is going to be stronger because there's not a break in the coils, or as many. Now, I haven't done anything with this coil yet as far as scoring, so before I go up the ramp, I need to make sure that I am adding texture by scoring. Water to help create the slip. And I can continue adding my coil upward. Now, if you had smaller pieces, you might have an extra one ready, and then you can keep going up. I don't, but I do have extra clay that I can roll out. So I'm going to go ahead and take the bottom of my cup, set it off to the side, and I'm going to go ahead and take the remaining part of my clay and make one last coil, and we'll see how tall it is in comparison to our paper. So once you've used up all your clay, it's going to be about the size of mine as far as wide and as tall. So we can go ahead and we can check it with our paper. And I'm a little less than halfway, which means I definitely could make this taller if I wanted to. If you have time today, I suggest that you make it taller at the end of your second day. If this is as tall as you've made it and that's as high as you want to go, I'm okay with it. But again, remember, our goal is to work with the materials that we have for the amount of time that we have. So you have all day today and you have all day next Thursday to make your first practice one. If you like the size, you don't want to go up any higher, another option so that you're still working on your clay project today, could be, and this is not something that you have to do, but I like to smooth out the inside of my cup. That way it'll fill in any holes that might be in there. And I just like the way that the inside looks when it's nice and smooth. So if you are somebody that wants a smooth inside and a coil outside, you can go ahead and you can take your popsicle stick, and just like when we were smoothing out the bottom, if you tried to go from the inside out, you're going to pull your cup apart. Same thing here. If you try to go from the bottom up, you're going to really struggle. So with your popsicle stick, we want to go in a downward motion, so that way our coils, at least for the bottom, are going downward instead of pulling apart. I'm using my left hand just to make sure that my cup is not falling apart. And I'm just taking my stick with a medium amount of pressure, and right now I'm just smoothing the inside out. If you push too hard, you're going to start stretching the clay, and your cup is going to start looking a lot like a bowl or even a dish, depending on how hard you go. So don't feel like you have to push extremely hard. Once the bottom ones are done, then you should be good to go with going upwards for the remaining ones, but I still like going down. Down or even just to the side. And again, this is not something that you have to do, but if you do like the look of a smooth inside, this is something that you could do for the remainder of today. Wet finger, we can go ahead and get rid of any of the texture left from the popsicle stick. And we can leave the sides alone. We don't have to worry about smoothing out the sides. Double check, make sure your first, last name, and code are on the bottom of this. And again, depending on where we're at in class, if it's still day one and I still have time left today and time next week, keep going up. This is less than half the size that you can have. So even if you go up another 2 coils, you're still not going to reach the 4 inches. It sounds like not a lot, but once you're done, they do get fairly tall. You'll be able to store things in here, pencils, jewelry, coins, but it won't be something that we'll be using for drinking anything out of. At the end of class, no matter how far you are, if you're this far, if you only have the bottom, if you're not quite done with the bottom, we want to make sure that it is going in the bag for the day. I suggest sticking it in as far into one of the corners as you can. From here, just lightly get any extra air out. Fold your bag. Again, try to push the air out of the sides. Close your bag. Double check it to make sure that it's sealed. And with the extra flap, it will go right underneath your project. And then you can grab a Sharpie marker and you can write your first name, last name, code to make sure that we know whose it is when we're handing them out. And you will take this into the kiln room on the shelf with your class code.